Okay, so I'm back at the bus on a Saturday, early afternoon. I had put these tarps up the other day. We were supposed to get 3 to 6 inches of rain, ended up being about an inch in our neck of the woods. But I didn't want a bunch of water collecting in the back of the bus because I only have a tiny hole that doesn't drain very well back there. So, it was pretty good. Only got a little bit of water back there. So anyway, today's agenda is I will take that tarp down for the first 10 feet or so, and I am going to drill the holes for the first sheet on this side. After I have that sheet up, I'm thinking I'm going to start framing in the door area here so that we can put the next sheet of metal up. So that's the agenda. I don't know how much of that I'm going to get done today, but I'll get at it. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is right here, this piece of the intake, I'm going to cut so that it will overlap properly. And then down there I'll cut that flange off going down so that it seats in properly. I'll do that with the angle grinder. Okay, so I started from the inside. Realized it was better to slot this from the outside, easier to use the grinder. Cut across. I'm just going to channel that down and get rid of that bend in the metal so things lay flat. And I got the most out of that cutting wheel, right down to the nub. Okay, so what I've been doing to lay out the holes, if you recall, is using this strip that I made out of metal and coated with tape so I didn't cut myself. And space the holes out. Then I'm using magnets to hold those to the hat channels, and then a paint pen to sort of mark the holes like that so that I have a dot to work with the drill bit. Then I eyeball a little bit just so that I kind of space them on the hat channel correctly as far as where they're going to fall in the flange. That at least gives me a distance between holes that, makes this a little more appealing to the eye. Unless you look at it up close and you'll notice imperfections. But I'm not going for perfection. Okay, so I put the yellow dots on each of the hat channels. Now see if you can guess what comes next. That's right, you guessed it, more holes. Oh, what fun. Okay, so got the holes drilling on this first channel. First hole down there, because of that duct work, I'm going to have to drill from the outside. Not a big deal. But anyway, continuing up the line, the next hole is right here on that yellow dot. We'll get started on it here in a second. Alright, so you can see behind me, I'm getting a lot of these holes drilled. I've got one more hat channel to go over and drill, and then I can grind and put up another sheet of metal. So I'm going to grind from the outside, hit it with some primer, and then put a 10-foot length of metal up. So hopefully I can get that metal up today and bolted in, maybe drive a few rivets before I've got to go home. So back at it here. Okay, so I drilled the center holes here horizontally for the first sheet on this side, and I'm almost done. Got this hat channel to do, and then I'll have the holes drilled. I'll be able to go outside and grind, and then I can place the first sheet on this side. Okay, so finished drilling holes for this panel. I got the top rail as I went, and also the middle. So I must be getting better at drilling, because this took nowhere near as much time as prior panels did. I guess my arm's getting stronger or something. So anyway, time to run the angle grinder on the outside, hit it with some primer, and then we'll get a sheet and hang it, at least on a couple bolts. Okay, so I got the angle grinder set up. I'm on the ladder here. I'm going to grind these spurs off of all the drill holes, little metal spurs. Clean up any welds on the edges and such, and hit what I can with some primer, and then after that we'll be ready to put a sheet in place. Okay, so me and two of the kids are trying to get the sheet up. We're probably one person short to do it the easy way, but we're still going to keep at it here. Okay, so the kids and I were on the second attempt successful here at getting this up into place. It was catching up in that corner a little bit. I had to kind of spread some metal out that was kind of getting in the way, but anyway, we got it in place. I put the little yellow paint dots all along the bottom for the bottom track of rivets. So I'm going to drill those holes, and then I'm going to caulk and run a row of rivets across the bottom. Okay, I'm about halfway through or so, maybe 2/3 with the bottom here, drilling the holes, and hasn't taken too long with the sharp bit. Can never have too many sharp bits. Okay, so I have the holes drilled on the bottom. Now I'm going to go inside and put a bead of Sikaflex 221 across that overlap. That'll seal it, and then we'll coat each rivet a little bit with some caulk as well as we drive them in. Okay, so got the bottom row of rivets put in, and I'm coming up on this edge a little bit. So between that and the bolts, this thing isn't really going anywhere.